All right, today we're going to do something a bit different. We've got our hands on a real-world investment pitch, and I mean a real one. It's for a brand new high-rise in Mekelle to Gray, and what's so fascinating is how it packages up a city's recovery and turns it into an economic opportunity. So let's dive in and break down how you sell not just a building, but a whole vision for the future.
So right off the bat, the pitch hits you with this really powerful statement. The developer, a company called Mekelle SC, they're making it clear from the get-go, this isn't just about construction. No, this is a symbol. It's basically a bet on the future, cast in concrete and steel, for a city that they're saying is turning the page, starting a new chapter.
The narrative here is crystal clear, right? This isn't just about slotting another high-rise into the city. It's about fundamentally changing the Mekelle skyline. The whole point is to create this big, visual statement that just screams confidence and growth. It's meant to be an anchor for the city's entire rebuilding effort.
So what are the actual details behind this big vision? Well, we're talking about a pretty substantial 15-story tower. It's a mixed-use building, so it'll have both commercial and residential spaces. The developer is HACATI, SIL, and they've picked a spot in the Hawelty subcity that they're positioning as a prime, can't-miss address. The scale of this thing is in itself a huge part of the message.
And this brings us to the absolute core of any good investment pitch: timing. The why now. The document doesn't just sell you a piece of property, it sells you a moment in time. It makes a very, very specific case for why right now is the perfect time to put your money into Mekelle. Let's dig into that argument.
And this isn't just an emotional appeal. Nope, the developer is super deliberate here. They structure their entire argument around three distinct market dynamics that they believe are creating a unique and probably temporary window of opportunity for anyone ready to invest.
Okay, so here's the core of it. Their three-part logic. It's all designed to create a sense of urgency, right? First, they're saying, hey, this city's rebuilding, and the first people in the door are going to see the biggest returns. Makes sense. Second, they point out that there's just not enough modern, high-quality buildings like this. It's a classic supply and demand gap. And third, they're predicting really strong and steady rental income from some very specific tenants: NGOs, folks from the diaspora, and corporate executives. Basically, people who need and can pay for this exact kind of safe, modern place to live.
So once they've made that economic case, the pitch pivots. It shifts focus to the product itself. What exactly is for sale? What are investors actually buying? Let's take a look inside this tower and check out the units they're offering.
You can see it's mostly residential. We're talking 112 apartments. But, and this is a smart move, they've strategically included 17 commercial spaces on the lower floors. That mix is really key to their whole vision of creating this self-contained, buzzing little community.
Now, for the people who are actually going to live here, the marketing really hones in on modern comforts and, of course, security. You see the call-outs for things like spacious layouts and balconies, which is great, but also the really crucial stuff, like elevator access and backup power. These are the features that signal a genuinely higher standard of living.
Now this is what I find really interesting: the shared amenities. This is where they stop selling you an apartment and start selling you a lifestyle. A 24/7 backup generator and purified water, those aren't just perks, they're fundamental promises of stability. Then you add in a gym, top-notch security, a playground, and suddenly the picture of a secure, modern, convenient life really comes together.
And this slide just brilliantly lays out the synergy they're going for. The businesses on the ground floor get this built-in customer base from the 112 apartments upstairs. And at the same time, the residents get the huge convenience of having clinics, shops, and cafes right at their doorstep. It's a win-win. Each side makes the other more valuable.
All right, now we're getting to what might be the single most critical part of this entire pitch. Because look, in any market, trust is a big deal. But in a post-conflict market, it's everything. The developer absolutely has to prove that this project isn't just some nice drawing on a piece of paper. They have to prove it's real.
And what do? They tackle this concern head-on. The brochure literally voices the #1 question any potential buyer is thinking. Is this thing for real? Is it just a concept, or is this actually happening? It's a pretty gutsy move to put your customer's biggest doubt right there on the page.
And the answer is just as direct and confident. They immediately pivot the conversation away from promises and toward cold, hard proof. The strategy is simple: show, don't tell.
And this is how they do it. They lay out a timeline. Construction started 3 months ago. They stress that right now, today, it is an active site with visible progress. You can see the columns, you can see the structure taking shape. And then they extend an invitation. Serious buyers can come see it for themselves. It's all about making the project completely undeniable.
This line right here, this pretty much sums up their whole strategy. By making the construction progress totally visible and transparent, they build trust. And in a market like this, that trust translates directly into financial value and gives investors the confidence to sign on the dotted line.
Of course, trust also comes from having clear, fair terms. The payment plan is broken down so it's super simple to understand. You put 15% down to get in, the big chunk, 80%, is paid in these manageable installments over 2 years while the building is actually going up. And that last little 5%? You only pay that when they hand you the keys. It's a structure that's designed to build your confidence as you see the progress.
And hey, to make the deal even sweeter, they've got some clear financial carrots. There's a 10% early bird discount to get some momentum going, and then another 10% off on top of that for anyone who can pay the full amount upfront. It's a classic sales move to get those early commitments locked in.
And finally, we get to the big call to action. The end of the pitch wraps everything up by framing this decision as not just a smart financial move for right now, but as something much, much bigger. This line is aimed squarely at a very specific audience. You can bet they're thinking of the Ethiopian diaspora here. It elevates the whole transaction. This isn't just buying real estate. It's an act of investing in your home country, of building a legacy, of being a part of the city's future for generations to come. It's powerful stuff. And here it is, the final push, the last bit of urgency. The message is just simple economics 101. As this building gets taller and becomes more of a sure thing, the price is going to go up, and the best units are going to be snapped up. The best time to get in, they're arguing, is now, before it's all finished.
So when you step back and look at it, this whole pitch is just a masterclass in how to sell a story. It's not just a building, it's a narrative of recovery, of future confidence. And it kind of leaves us with this bigger question, Whenever you see a new skyline starting to form, especially in a place that's rebuilding, what is that really telling us about that city's belief in its own tomorrow?